Hey storytellers, Chill here, back from the void, and welcome to a brand new video. Now if you're new to this, oh motherfucker, my bagels are moldy shit. If you're new to this channel, let me tell you something. I am a huge superhero fan. I mean, obviously, look at the channel. I love superhero comics, I love superhero cartoons, I love superhero games, and I love superhero movies. And actually, what got me into superheroes as a whole was the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think I started really religiously watching the MCU like when Iron Man 2 came out, because I think beforehand I was a fetus. But as soon as I saw Captain America's shield and Thor's hammer in that movie, I was absolutely hooked. Cut to 15 years later, and here I am in college making a YouTube video about the MCU. Oh my god, 15? Jesus. Yep, today we're gonna be talking about that new Marvel. I heard it was nuts. Okay, no, but for real, jokes aside, people are saying that it's actually really good. And this time it's not for superficial reasons like cameos or Hugh Jackman. I like that movie. Don't you comment down saying I hate that movie. I like that movie. And because of all this fanfare, I think we should look at it. I think we should look at it critically. You know, on a filmmaking and on a writing level, what makes Marvel's The Thunderbolts the first good MCU movie in a long time? So, before we head into the movie, let's ask the question that I know a lot of you are actually thinking of right now. Who are the Thunderbolts? The Thunderbolts are a super hero, vigilante, super person team that were introduced after the Onslaught event. In that event, the Avengers were onslaughtered. This team originally consisted of characters like Citizen V, Songbird, Atlas. If you don't know those characters, it's fine because they're actually the masters of evil in disguise. Citizen V is Baron Zemo. Songbird is Screaming Mimi? What? I know who Songbird is. Who is Screaming? Worst comic book YouTuber ever. But yeah, the Thunderbolts are villains pretending to be heroes or villains being used as heroes, usually led by General Thunderbolt Ross, hence the name Thunderbolts. However, they're not always led by Ross because there are a fuck ton of iterations. And sadly, I don't have any sort of personal history with the team, the Thunderbolts. I would say they were never my cup of tea, but honestly, they were never even in my radar. And I'm not like a comic amateur. I read comics. I like Arkham Asylum. I hope no one thinks that's me trying to impress. That was a joke. But their comic book history matters honestly pretty minimally when it comes to this film, as it is just taking the team name to tell its own story, and the taking the team name part is only half true. But what happens in the Thunderbolts? Well, just in case you need a refresher or you don't care about spoilers. Okay, f***ing cool guy. I'm gonna give you a very, very brief synopsis, starting now. So when we begin, the movie The Thunderbolts is actually through the perspective of Black Widow, not this one, the new Black Widow, Yelena, and she is doing some odd missions for Valentina. You know, the lady who appeared in the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and also Black Widow, and also maybe something else that I don't remember. Yeah, well, she's sending Yelena on some odd jobs, and Yelena is getting kind of sick of it. So sick of it that she goes to dear old dad, Red Guardian. Honestly, probably one of my favorite characters from Black Widow. I don't have many memories of watching Black Widow, but most of them are of him. And she's basically like, Dad, I do not know if I want to... Dad, I do not know if I want to do working for Valentina.
I will do it for you.
What?
I will do it for you, and I will do it for you right now.
Bada bing, bada boom, she walks out on her pops, and she goes on another mission for Valentina. At the same time, Congressman Bucky Barnes... What did I miss? I swear to God, he wasn't a congressman last... What happened in that Captain America movie? But anyway, Congressman Bucky Barnes and Valentina are currently being yelled at by the law because something political that happened in a movie I didn't see. And I know some people are typing down the comments. Don't worry, this did not ruin my experience for the film. I just didn't understand what they were talking about most of the time. But that's only for plot. The plot is really not important in this movie, but let's keep talking about the plot. Valentina sends Yelena on a mission to protect her assets. Protect from who, you ask? Well, U.S. agent. Oh, no. The Taskmaster. No. Ghost? Turns out they were all sent by Valentina individually, and they realized this by working together. And killing Taskmaster. Can we get a hands raised for who cares about Taskmaster dying? Cool, got it. But anyway, after Taskmaster dies, we quickly find Bob, this a random person who is completely inconspicuous and is probably just chilling. And also US agent finds this pod. Unrelated though. They escape this Valentina death trap and begin to work together to try to take Valentina down. And during this escape, we actually see a few hints of perhaps what's wrong with Bob. Because it seems whenever characters touch him, they have very, very traumatic memories. That's probably unrelated though. Let's move on. Valentina realizes that all of her targets have, escaped together and are probably, working together, and says, oh shit, that's not too good. So she puts the pressure on him and shoots up Bob. I'm not playing, by the way. He gets just destroyed, completely decimated, like beyond, but Bob doesn't stay down. He actually showcases insane Superman-like powers. However, it seems that our anti-heroes cannot reunite with him before they have to leave the area to get to safety. This is where Yelena, US agent, and Ghost meet a preferred guardian, while Bob is all the way with Valentina as she's, doing her supervillain manipulation shit. As our anti-heroes are being chased down by Valentina's men, Bucky Barnes comes to save the day, but oops. He's actually here to capture the anti-hero, which because of a honestly pretty cute reason are being called the Thunderbolts now. Meanwhile, Bob is being turned into the Sentry. And if you know comics, you're excited for the Sentry. However, Bucky actually allies himself with the Thunderbolts as they all ambush Valentina, but she just lets them up because she wants to show them her newest creation, the Sentry, in full costume with blonde hair. As she describes her plan, she is going to essentially frame the Thunderbolts into being rogue supervillains and the Sentry into being the hero that saved the day. Obviously, the Thunderbolts are against this and they try to fight back, and the Sentry fucking mollywops them. Like, jeez Louise. However, after he defeats them fair and square, Valentina sort of wants him to go further beyond, perhaps kill them. He's not okay with this. Actually, he's not okay with any of the manipulation. He doesn't like being controlled, so he beats the shit out of Valentina. And now the Sentry becomes something darker, something more sinister. The Void. Now it's up to the Thunderbolts to essentially defeat the Void, but also save the Sentry, because this dark power definitely isn't coming from conscious thought. It's coming from something deeper, something more sad. And after some honestly very cool scenes showing off the Void's powers, eventually it's up to Yelena and the rest of the Thunderbolts to speak to Bob and to talk to him. Not to beat his ass until he's like, oh my god, I'm on your side now, but instead to have a conversation, because the Void represents depression, it represents sadness, it represents a psychological void. And the Thunderbolts essentially take their hands out in order to help Bob escape this void. However, the results of this saving causes Bob to lose his memory, so he doesn't really remember much of anything. And while the Thunderbolts see Valentina hoping to beat her ass once and for all, it turns out that she actually succeeded in her manipulation and has framed the Thunderbolts as her new heroes. Oh, not called the Thunderbolts, so sorry. My producer said they have a new name. The New Avengers. Oh, and at the end of Fantastic Four there, awesome. But yeah, that was the plot of the movie. It went exactly like that with no differences. Don't worry. In all seriousness though, it's still very simple in the actual movie, even if it makes a lot more sense than what I described. And its simplicity is not a criticism. It actually lets the other aspects of the film shine even more. I must say, when you're a writer or a filmmaker, having a simplistic plot can lead to other aspects of the film shining. But those aspects need to shine. So, I bet you're all asking, do they shine? Oh boy. Yes, they do.
We'll be right back with more Chillixion.
Hey, fun fact that you probably already knew. Did you know that Florence Pugh actually jumped off this building in real life? Yeah, no, it wasn't a stunt double. She said she wanted to do it because she just loves the idea of replicating the stunts of her character. She just really liked it. And you know, if you really like this video, then you probably should press that like button. If you're new here, this is the dynamic. I get ya, and you take it. In all seriousness though, if you're enjoying this video so far, please click that like button. It's the best way to show support for the channel and these types of videos. It lets me know that you guys want to see more just like this, and it'll mean that more content just like this will get sent out. Remember, support the content, and support the creator. I mean, it's only because you guys show support for videos like the Superman video, or the Teen Titans video, or the X-Men video, that I'm making a video on the Thunderbolts, because I know you guys like me talking about superheroes. So don't worry, as long as you click that like button. Let's make the like goal today 50 likes. If we get this video to 50 likes, then you know what? Expect more videos about superhero movies. And for those who are waiting for another tier list, don't worry, it's coming very soon. But that's gonna be enough for me in the ad break. I don't want to take too much of your time from watching your Thunderbolts analysis. So I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Welcome back for more Chillixion.
So even though the plot is so simple, what really shines is the characters, because characters are essential. So we're just going to talk about every character that I kind of care for in the Thunderbolts and why they work. First is Yelena, Black Widow, played by Florence Pugh. She is just an absolute blast to watch on screen. I mean, ever since Black Widow, you know, she had that on-screen charisma, that leading role charisma. She could carry a film on her back, and thankfully she didn't have to this time, but if she needed to, she honestly could have. I'll be honest, before Black Widow, I hadn't seen her in anything, but since then, I watched her in movies like Midsommar. Choosing like her second most popular movie is such a horrific play. Why did I do that? But Yelena in this film is really entertaining to watch. She's clearly struggling with something. I mean, we saw this a bit in Hawkeye, but she seemed a lot more cold-blooded killer. In this movie, she is a lot more of a three-dimensional character with ups and downs, happy moments and sad moments, a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot of sad moments. And Florence Pugh is an excellent actress, so like obviously she sells those scenes, and it honestly kind of gives Yelena that characterization and that humanity that Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow didn't really get as much. Like, not to say that she was a bad character. ScarJo's Black Widow was still really good, but if we think about the movies she was in, she was never really like a lead, so she didn't have the chance to really shine like this. Like, I think the movie I can think of the most that has her shine like this, aside from, you know, her own movie, is like Avengers Age of Ultron. That's written by Joss Whedon, so clearly doesn't respect women. Cut to Flash Wonder Woman boob scene. But yeah, Yelena is a really good character, and like I said, if she needed to, she could have carried the film. However, she didn't have to. The next character I want to talk about is Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. He is okay in this movie. I was never a huge Bucky Barnes guy. We know I was never a huge Bucky Barnes stan. I didn't even think he was that cool. Like, he is cool. He has cool moments, but like, he's not that cool. I think all the cool moments that I'm thinking of mostly come from Winter Soldier before we knew who he was, and everything he does after that is just kind of like mildly impressive. However, not to like hate on Sebastian Stan, he is a great actor and he's doing a really good job in this movie, but Bucky sort of feels like a bit of a side character, and I understand that a lot of that comes from the fact that a lot of his plot has to do with politics that relate to films that I haven't seen. But in my defense, I also think that a lot of that comes from his role as sort of a mentor type, or sort of a mediator. I mean, he is the oldest on the team, he has the most experience, he sort of knows everyone, and it's implied that he could basically beat everyone aside from Bob. So him playing this backseat role fits what his role on the team is. Sadly for Bucky, he's just okay in this movie for me. I think a lot of, you know, people who are going to watch this film are huge Bucky fans, and that love for the character is going to sort of boost how they see him in the movie, which is totally cool, and more power to everyone who loves him. But he's just not doing it for me. Sorry. However, next is a real GOAT, in my opinion, the Red Guardian. Played by David Harper, he is a riot. He is probably the funniest character in this entire film, no question. But aside from the funny moments and the energy of his performance, he's playing an actual emotional three-dimensional character. He is playing a father who has essentially lost his entire family. His wife has left him, his daughter is dead, and his other daughter is completely estranged, and he's having a lot of trouble trying to make that connection again. Like, in every conversation they have, it's not really clear if Yelena still even respects him, and you can tell that that's going through Red Guardian's mind. And the way he plays his character and plays his care for his children in different scenes, whether it's near the end or near the beginning of the film, is just so believable. And he still remains funny when he has to be. That mix of tones is just... So when I said Red Guardian was probably the funniest character in this movie, the only other character that comes to mind is US Agent, because he is a D1 crash out. Bro was willing to pull out the blick like 2 times. just because he felt disrespected. And I have seen Falcon and Winter Soldier, and obviously his character in that sort of colored how I saw him at the beginning of this film, but I think just how funny he is sort of made me ignore a lot of that. Is that a problematic look into our society? Maybe. However, like a lot of the characters in this film, they gave him a much more emotional deep dive into his personality, into his history, and into his lore. We get to see his family, and they gave him a black wife, which could have been a complete coincidence, but I think it's funny how the character who clearly is racist, like, not to say anything on the actor's probably like a chill dude, but like the character, like look at him, look at him. And they give him a black wife. That's so funny. It's like Cody Rhodes in AEW. I have a beautiful black and white child.
Where is that referee?
But all jokes aside, seeing his family legitimately humanized him. It showed that he cared for people. Like, even though he was getting mad, he was getting pissy, you could tell that he almost immediately regretted how he was acting. And they thankfully didn't have to make the dude like hit them. Like, I felt like there was tension for me. I didn't know if he was gonna do some crazy shit or not. Cause the movies get nuts. They'll show a character doing that and they'll be like, you should like him. I won't like him. That's weird behavior. He's still kind of iffy though, but he is funny. D1 crash out John Walker. The next character I want to talk about is someone who I like kind of significantly less, and that's Ghost. Ghost didn't do much in this movie. Like, at all. She's there. She's funny. Her powers are cool. Her new design is really cool. But she doesn't really get one of those void power scenes, unless I just like don't remember a chunk of the movie. Yeah, so I looked it up. Ghost didn't have a scene in the void, which is quite a bummer. And it's true, neither did Red Guardian, but to be fair, Red Guardian had like a significant backstory in the Black Widow movie, and he has enough of a character to make up for his lack of a void scene. I don't think Ghost does. Not to say she's a bad character, like she's cool and she's impressive and she looks nice, but like aside from that, she's just kind of there. And you know what's funny? I actually think that her lack of a character is why, okay, we're talking about the next person. Taskmaster died. Because if you had Taskmaster alive on the team, cool. Now there are two characters that kind of look similar, that both have no personality, who we don't know anything about, who are not getting void scenes. I mean, if you kept Taskmaster on there, Lord knows neither of them are getting void scenes. So, you know, they killed her, which is like fine. I don't know if people are fake mad about this or something. Like, people didn't even like Taskmaster and Black Widow. I kind of did. Kind of, as in like the idea of Taskmaster being in a movie was cool. But yeah, no, Taskmaster has like half a personality and Ghost has maybe a full one, kind of. Hopefully in future projects, who knows if they're gonna make more of these, Ghost will get some exploration into her character. The next character I want to talk about is Valentina, and she's cool. I like her a lot more now than I liked her before the movie started. I mean, all we really got from her was like after credit scenes and a few scenes in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a show which I watched, but I definitely didn't care for. But in this film, she like has a character. She's like cartoonishly evil, and I like that. And she got a void scene, which is important. She is like a major antagonist. The void scene was like, okay, it was dramatic. It was cool to see. It didn't really add much to the movie as a whole, aside from like the general theme of hurt people. But as a character and as an antagonist, I actually really like her. I think the fact that she opposes everyone in such a powerful and, you know, honestly memorable way is good. Like, yeah, I didn't really care for her, but it would suck to just have her in the movie and just have her be forgettable. You know, like the villain of the Eternals? What's his name? Does anyone know? No one knows. And if you're gonna type it, that's because you Googled it. Don't lie to me. But she's definitely an interesting antagonist. And if anything, she serves as a really good manipulator for everyone in the film. Better her, a character with, you know, personality, goals, and a possible future in the MCU than some random Congress bureaucrat. Plus, the actress that plays her actually is doing a really good job of portraying her character. Still like her more than Bucky. The next character I want to talk about is sort of the star of the show. If it's not Yelena, it is Bob, also known as the Void, also known as the Sentry. At first, when he's introduced in the movie, I'm like, okay, I get his deal. He's like, oh, I'm just a guy. I'm a little quirky little dude. Oh, I'm weird. Oh my God. You know, like it's the trope. However, we quickly begin to plant seeds to the idea that Bob might be more than what he seems. And obviously, when I was watching the movie, I knew what his deal was. I know comics. I read comics. I like Oh, stay Superman. But I know the Sentry, I knew his deal. I was just excited to see how this movie tackled it. And it does it in a very interesting way. Bob is not a forgotten superhero that, you know, who the memory of was erased by like Doctor Strange or Mr. Fantastic or whatever. He is just like a super soldier turned into a Superman-like character. And the Void more so represents darkness, the shadow, depression. And with all that, Marvel still manages to make Bob a quirky and interesting enough character so that you don't want to see him become the Void. So that when you first see his eyes glow, you're like, oh my god, he's so powerful, but what is he gonna turn into? Is this cute little guy that I kind of got attached to, is he gonna go away? And when you see Valentina trying to break him down and destroy that cute exterior, you're like, yo, what the fuck? And when you learn his backstory and learn how he was treated, you're like, yo, what the fuck? And in those final moments when he is beating up the Void and the people who surround him, the people who've chosen to help him, his friends, his allies, when they try to help him, and even though they save the day, he loses his memories of those he loves, you're like, what the fuck? But yeah, as you can guess, I do like Bob's character. They managed to make his cutesy, sort of silly dude personality work a lot. Like, I do like silly guys. It is a trope that happens all the time and gets kind of annoying, but I like it. I'm the reason why it keeps happening. And who he becomes as the Sentry is like very clearly a character that is being manipulated, and I like that. I like to see when characters with clear flaws, clear weaknesses, clear vulnerabilities are taken advantage of because of those vulnerabilities, and seeing them break free from those. That's why I love One Piece. Seeing characters go into dark spaces and then freeing themselves with the help of those they love, that is one of my favorite like writing tropes ever. Plus, the Void is just fucking cool. He looks sick. His power, what it does, looks fucking sick. This scene with this little girl, fucking sick. Bob is awesome. He is super cool, and I'm excited to see him in future Marvel movies. I just hope the Avengers movies don't waste him. Like, this is a guy that you put in like the action scene of the film. Like, please don't waste him, y'all. Because I know y'all aren't putting fucking Adam Warlock in those movies. Come on, bro. So now that we've talked about the characters, let's talk about the characters. Like, the selection of characters. The Thunderbolts roster. Like, obviously, we just watched a movie that we all, like, at least liked a little bit. So clearly, we enjoyed this team now. But when this team was first announced, everyone had a lot of words to say. Mostly, why are they all the same guy? Like, they're all super soldier type things. And this is before we knew that the Sentry was going to also be a super soldier type thing. But in retrospect, this not only was the best choice for the movie, but it was the only choice for the movie. Like, all of these characters are super soldiers who are manipulated by a higher power. In a movie that is about saving a super soldier that is being manipulated by a higher power. And it's a story that only really makes an impact in the MCU. In regular Marvel comics, if you do this, it's just sort of like, oh, okay. Unless you do like every Weapons Plus candidate, but like that's not what this is, obviously. But in the MCU, there aren't that many superheroes, and a lot of them are just super soldiers. And the scale is even like a bit lower, so it's more logical to have a super soldier than a like forgotten hero from days past who Doctor Strange like hid and like the Avengers worked. Like, that's a whole lot of complicated stuff that like implies history that the MCU is not prepared to reveal right now. So the fact that they reworked the Sentry and then created the plot around that rework, pretty good. And something else I want to point out about this roster of Thunderbolts members is, you know, looking at all of them, Yelena, Red Guardian, US Agent, Ghost, Taskmaster, all these characters are characters from MCU projects that people didn't really like. Like, obviously people liked Yelena because people be horny, and people liked Red Guardian because people be horny. But looking at the projects that a majority of these characters originated from, they were not that well received. Black Widow, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. So this movie essentially acts as their second chance in the MCU, which is interesting because the Thunderbolts, as a team, sort of works as a second chance for these characters. Characters who previously were morally dubious or straight up villains now get to be heroes in the limelight as the new Avengers. This is their second chance. It also has to be said how this movie ends with those characters becoming like the new faces of the MCU. And now because of how much people like this movie, people are calling the Thunderbolts the new faces of the MCU. And within the movie, all these characters don't just exist individually, obviously, they all work together. They all are a team, and their relationship and team dynamics carry the film. Like I said, this plot is super simplistic, but the way the characters interact with each other in either sentimental ways, genuine ways, or just funny ways, you know, those create great moments for the movie. Like, you're either seeing these characters interact and the dynamics are legitimately interesting, or you're seeing them interact and dynamics are making you like, exhale out of your nose, or even chuckle once or twice. I laughed 2 times. And to showcase how their team dynamics work in a more specific way, I want to compare the Thunderbolts with another similar movie, Suicide Squad. Not The Suicide Squad, just Suicide Squad. These are both movies with villain teams working to be heroes, and they both have team dynamics, but the Thunderbolts is good and entertaining, and Suicide Squad is Suicide Squad, like it's bad, obviously. But the big difference between these two films is that in the Thunderbolts, the characters are choosing to work together. In Suicide Squad, they're just sort of rounded up and then they suddenly begin to work together and then the movie continues. However, in the Thunderbolts, they make a choice, and this choice informs their character and gets you to learn more about them. Like, it tells you about her character, how much Ghost clearly doesn't want to work with a team. It shows you how fed up Yelena is, the fact that she is, so quick to being like, wait guys, let's stop and figure this out. She is used to being in problems like this. I mean, she's the only one who's actually had to be in a team dynamic before. So the decision to have the Thunderbolts choose to work together works infinitely better than Suicide Squad's attempt of just throwing a bunch of characters in a pot and calling it a day. And yes, James Gunn's Suicide Squad sort of did the same thing as the original film, had a bunch of characters forced to work together, except that film was really well written and you learned about those characters before they even started working together. Sorry, no more James Gunn glazing. That's for July. I mentioned this before, but throughout the Thunderbolts, we get what I'm calling void scenes, essentially seeing critical parts of these characters' lives, but only after being with them for a little bit. It's not like we meet US Agent and then we, boom, get his void scene and then they're like, boom, there's his backstory, figure him out, do whatever you want. No, they introduce him, have us get used to him for a bit, and then they show him a bit of his backstory. So even if you haven't seen Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, you can infer who his character is based on how he acts before the void scene, and then the new information you get after the void scene. Films have runtimes. They can't go on forever, no matter how much a film student tells you. So we gotta find ways to explore these characters and understand them, especially with ensembles. So this method, giving backstory a little bit after we introduce the characters, allows us to delve deeper into the cast, especially the ones who didn't get a benefit of an entire film before them, like in Avengers, or for those who don't get the benefit of an entire ensemble comedy, like the Guardians of the Galaxy. So far, it's been really easy for me to say that the Thunderbolts stands out as an MCU movie because it's written well, or because the actors do a good job of making these characters feel believable. But that's not the only part of it. On a filmmaking level, the Thunderbolts works because the directing is a lot more grounded. It's been clear for like a few years now that Marvel's visual language has been a bit off. I mean, for a good amount of years, it was that every Marvel movie looks boring and gray and dull. And more recently, it's been that every Marvel movie looks CGI filled and super fucking ugly. And that's not to make fun of the VFX team, that's more to make fun of the executives, because the VFX team are trying their goddamn hardest, but they're not being paid well or treated well at all. But the Thunderbolts is a lot more grounded, because on a filmmaking level, it has a lot of practical stunts. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, Florence Pugh literally did this jump. A smaller focus on visual effects, which it makes sense. I mean, in this movie, what sort of visual effects are there gonna be? Like, I mean, the Sentry's powers, but aside from that, like what, like a Black Widow jump? If Florence Pugh don't learn how to do a fucking Hurricane Rana, I'm putting the main focus of the movie less on the bombastic action scenes and more on the characters and how they interact. It's funny because all three of those things, yeah, they do make a more grounded film, but in a way, they also just make kind of a better film. Like, characters are kind of the heart and soul of your movie. Focusing on them is always best. Limiting the amount of visual effects to limit the strain on your VFX workers, yeah, that's pretty great. Practical stunts, I mean, filmmakers, filmmaking fans, actors, everyone loves a good practical stunt. So shout out to the Thunderbolts production crew, because by making a more grounded film, they showed that, yeah, actually, doing stuff that everyone likes and that is good makes a better movie. But don't mistake me giving Thunderbolts its flowers for having a better and more stable production as me saying that it's like the best looking MCU film, or that it's the best looking movie ever, or whatever stupid lies people can make up. It looks fine, and compared to other MCU films, they are doing a much better job. And with this film's directing and color scheme being a lot darker, it obviously does represent the Void and his shadowy powers, but I think it also represents the themes of this movie. Themes of loneliness, themes of trauma, and using this hero team to communicate these themes so that they can all relate to each other, and so that we, as the audience, can relate to the story as a whole. The thing everyone is saying about the Thunderbolts is that it feels different, and that's mainly because it feels like the Thunderbolts had a story to tell. It feels like it had themes to tell primarily, and wasn't just a cameo fest for the sake of making big money at the box office. And I do say that fully knowing that every Marvel project starts as a way to make money off IP. But the Thunderbolts, just like the Guardians of the Galaxy all those years ago, are at an IP disadvantage. No one fucking knows them. This IP disadvantage in the hands of a good writer with a story to tell and with a passion for the characters and the art form that they are working with, this motivates the story to shine through. Themes of mental health, trauma, depression, loss after failure, all these things are brought up in the film very thoroughly throughout every character. You know, they've all experienced some major loss, whether that's the blip or some sort of opportunity, a family member, a loved one, something inside of them. They've all lost something, and they are all deeply affected by this loss. And in my opinion, this could even be seen as like a meta commentary on superhero filmmaking in 2025. I mean, like I said before, the characters themselves sort of feel like failures and demand a second chance. And the media that they come from, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Black Widow, in a way by the superhero community and by the industry as a whole, are seen as failures. So the fact that the themes, the characters, hell, even the movies that the characters come from, all connect, that shows a synergy that only happens within a great production. But people aren't praising the themes just because it's about mental health. Like, yes, it's a very important topic, but it's a topic chosen on purpose, chosen with intent. And this actually perfectly transitions into what I have next, okay? We talked about the story, we talked about the characters, we talked about the directing, we talked about the themes of the movie itself. But now that we've talked about everything, what can we learn? First of all, I want to say that superhero adaptations are not easy. Filmmaking isn't easy, obviously, but superhero adaptations are an interesting game because you have to do two things, right? First, you have to make a good movie. And second, you have to properly adapt the source material. And the latter can completely enrage your original fan base if done incorrectly. But in attempts to please simple fans, the MCU and Marvel as a whole has focused too much on delivering good superhero movies. Movies that look like the comics, might even feel like the comics, but they don't tell stories like the comics. Unlike Hollywood movies, comics, just because of the size of the industry and how much, let's be honest, big executives don't really give a shit about comics. But because of all of this, they tend to be a lot more personal. They tend to be a lot more creator driven, at least more than movies. I understand the comics industry has its own set of problems, and that's for another video. But at least the really good comic stories are a lot more personal and are a lot more creator driven. But most importantly, these comics are stories that people want to tell. The Thunderbolts, due to being what I can call just one level above production hell, got a lot of changes from its initial announcement. Hell, the movie went through so many changes to the point that the creators of the film, Jack Schreier and Eric Pearsons, just were unintentionally given so much time that they had a chance to inject something personal into the film. These two wanted to tell a story about depression. They wanted to tell a story about the darkness within all of us. They wanted to tell a story about mental health. And a lot of MCU movies, especially post-Endgame, don't feel like these filmmakers wanted to tell these stories. It just felt like they were told to. And of course, forcing your VFX team to slave away for effects that the internet is going to complain about anyway isn't a good thing as well. Because of all of this, because of the simplistic plot, because of the character dynamics, because of the directing, because of the thematic elements, because of the intentions with the film, The Thunderbolts ends up being a movie about superhumans not just saving the world, but saving themselves, and in turn, telling the audience how they can save each other. All this without being muddied by endless cameos and references to other media. So, to make myself more clear, do I think that Marvel took a risk, and that's why The Thunderbolts is good? No, not really. I don't think The Thunderbolts is a very risky movie, but I do think that the people behind this film wanted to make it. The chemistry between the cast, on and off set, how the production was handled, how personal the story was, all of these are things that can only come from a true desire to make a movie. But I know y'all still have questions looming in your heads. How will Marvel handle their movies in the future? Well, hopefully Fantastic Four will follow a similar track. I don't really know what the plot of the movie is yet, so I'm not really sure about, the thematic elements thing, but the production photos, how the cast are talking about the movie, it just oozes like a desire to make a very stylized movie. So hopefully the rest of the film follows. I mean, that would be amazing, right? If Marvel's first family got like an outstanding MCU movie, that'd be great. Avengers Doomsday, fuck no. Like, I don't really care about the movie. I mean, I'm probably gonna see it, but I don't really think anyone wanted to make this movie. It just sort of feels like a quota that they had to fill. I mean, how can you really want to make a movie that we didn't know was going to be made until after Jonathan Majors was a fucking dumbass? Jeez, yeah. But even with me bad-mouthing Avengers Doomsday, I will judge it when I see it. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be like a crazy surprise. I mean, when I saw Ant-Man, I did not know I was going to like it. And all of you know that I did not expect to like the Thunderbolts. So, that was the video. I hope all of you enjoyed my analysis on the new Marvel, but just a reminder, that was just my opinion. If you agree or disagree with my opinion, please tell me why in the comment section below. I read every comment and try my absolute best to respond to all of them. And if you want more videos just like this, you can check out my other analysis videos on the channel. Like I said, the like goal for this video is 50 likes, and if this video does good, I might make more videos about comic book movies. I mean, Fantastic Four is coming out soon. So is Superman. But even if we don't reach that like goal, I want to thank all of you for all the support on the channel. It has been absolutely great. Even in my sort of leave/hiatus, you guys have been super supportive of the content. And if you're watching this right now, that means I am back to semi-consistent uploads. I say semi because I'm not going back to my weekly upload schedule. No, this time I am doing bi-weekly uploads. I'm recording this during Pride Month, but it's probably not Pride Month by the time you see this. But stay tuned. Not next week, but the week after that for more content coming at your YouTube page. But if you want more videos from me so bad, you can check out my second channel. I know putting this at the end of the video, it probably will mean no one will see it, but that's okay. Chillx is the name of my second channel, or at Chillixion Music. This is where, you can assume, I will be uploading my music. Either it's uploaded already or it'll be up next week by the time you're watching this video, but I have a new song coming out. It's actually about the Thunderbolts. It's called The Void. Yes, I am back to making nerdcore music. On the Chillx channel, if you subscribe, I can guarantee you that you will be getting new music. The schedule isn't so set in stone, but I'm gonna try to do bi-weekly uploads. Yeah, so basically I'm still uploading weekly, but I'm just changing off from each channel, sort of giving you guys a balance while still making it work for my schedule. But don't worry, I have videos guaranteed for this channel right here. My music, it's a little more loose. Anyway, y'all, I hope y'all had fun. I know I did. But right now I am all marveled out. So I'm probably gonna go sit in the corner in the dark for a few hours and think about my regrets, but like in a healthy way. Anyway, I hope all of you storytellers have a damn good one. Peace.